Again, print journalism, I think, is always going to be there. It's always been around. With the media, as far as social media and the internet and things like that, it's something new. As far as over the last 10, 15 years, it's got a lot of hype and it's going to continue to grow. But you'll never get rid of print media. You'll never get rid of the physical having something in your hand, and the tangible being able to look at it, flip through it. I mean, people like that. It's why we'll never get rid of books. People. I mean, you can put everything you want in PDF format and put it up on the internet, but there's something about taking a book and having it in your hand, or taking a paper and having it in your hand and being able to flip through and consume the information. I don't think we'll ever get rid of that. That's what's interesting. As a consumer, I typically get most of my news offline, which, again, the caveat to that is being able to being on the go all the time like I am. It's just easier to access. Yahoo. It's easier to access CNN. It's easier to access the Huffington Post. The AP, more so than it is to go and pick up those papers individually. So, in that respect, for someone who travels a lot, someone who's on the go a lot, it may be easier for them to access the information um, via the web. At this point, I'd have to say the digital media is winning. Again, just because there are so many mediums that are out there and so many different ways to disseminate the information, and so many different ways to gather the resources, And again, I can log on to the web, on my phone or on my iPad or my laptop. Whereas, the paper, you would actually have to go and find that source. So, again, I think digital media is winning, but I think it'll be short-lived. I don't think it will last as long as what people think. Well, I think for a while there's going to be a balance between the two, kind of like how it is now, where you're going to have a lot of stuff that's still printed, but then a lot of people are going to choose to get their stuff online. But I think as a consumer, I like having the choice of both. I like having both options available. So I think we're going to see this flux, like we're in it right now for a while, and it'll be like this for a long time. But eventually, again, depending on how technology goes, if it continues on this same path, you may see print media slowly, slowly, not disappear altogether, but you may not see as much of it. We already don't see as much of it. As far as even with advertisements. There used to be advertisements would come, mailed to your house in the form of coupons and things like that. Even that now is kind of giving way to things like Groupon and Living Social and those type of things. So uh, again, is there still a need for it? Yeah, because you got a lot of people who actually don't have access to the internet, so the only way they can get the information is through print media. So, again, I think until more people embrace the internet, then again, I think we're going to be fine on the print side. But if at any point that scale does tip in their favor, then print is going to suffer. You'd almost have to tell the story in pictures. And I know that kind of sounds elementary, but you would have to target an audience that's younger and used to you know Flash and what I mean, the internet and Twitter and Facebook, and so you would almost have to figure out a way to tell the story in picture form, in order to keep the consumer's attention. I think that's just one idea that you may see. I mean, almost like a newspaper in comic book form, if you will. Basically telling the daily news, and that may be something that's 10 years down the road. But how else is print media going to be able to capture that that fan base back? Other than being able to entertain. I mean, all news now is entertainment. Whether it's about a war or whether it's about killing or whether it's about abortion or whether it's about something crazy, healthcare, politics. It's all entertainment now. Celebrities, infidelity, all of that. I mean, it's all entertainment. So if people are consuming entertainment and consuming the news in the form of entertainment, then you'll have to figure out a way to give it to them that way in print form. So again, I'm not sure exactly what the answer is, but that's just something that I've heard that you may see in the future is your news delivered in print form in the form of a pictorial story. Well, I think it's still pretty important. Again, we've got about 18,000 students here at UAB, and every day I still get, folks who say, "Hey, I read your story, I read your story," which surprises me because I mean I'm thinking like you, and no one really picks up the paper and reads it, But I actually had a couple of my professors, and these are older folks, but they're still considered, part of the faculty, student body. They make up the population of the campus, and they were just like, hey, the register stories are great, how long you been doing this, you think about making this a career, just asking general questions, but it made me, I guess I understood it a little bit better about how the process works, I mean, I've been writing for the Cloud Skill for a couple of semesters now, and I'm just now having people tell me that they've seen the stories or they've read the stories, so again, it's probably a slower transition, um, but I don't know. I think eventually, as far as on this campus, it's gonna remain the way it has been. Until we figure out a way. Again, more. They started putting color pictures in the papers, to grab people's attention, and that worked. They started introducing more sports stories, and that's worked. Sports articles are probably the most read articles of any article in any paper, everything else kind of gets glanced over, So, again, appealing to the part of the student body that you're going to have certain people that don't read. Right. They're not going to read anything, right. Then you can have certain people that read everything, So what we want to get is that 80% in the middle that may pick it up if there's something interesting or something that pertains to them or a friend or, something like that. So figuring out exactly what the people want and how to give it to them, I mean, that's the answer.